What was that like? Yes, I did. I grew up, of course, the whiners, they were called testimonials back then, but I mean, they were awesome. I mean,
happy Saturday, everybody.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to You Go Here Now. It's 7:30.
7:30.
With the Clark sisters, so we were connected that way, and even commissioned back then.
The gospel. That's the gospel according to PJ.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And this is him having a conversation with his dad.
Conversation with the bishop.
I love it.
Yeah, love the bishop, man.
Yeah. Love the Mortons.
Mm-hmm.
Love the family. We do. Good evening, everyone. We see you coming on.
Yeah.
Pastor Poole, we see you. Raya, welcome. Sunshine, welcome. Honey Savage is here with us, honey.
Yeah.
Hey, fam. Jaro, welcome back. Welcome back, Erica. Good to see you. Matt the Preacher is always here. Good to see you, Walter. Hey, Miss Roberta. Hey, Clara. Happy Saturday.
Thank you, Mama Sydney.
Mama Sydney, we love you.
Thank you.
Dr. Skip, thank you.
Bless you, Mara. Got your message. Thank you so much.
Good to see you all. Sing Shanna. Is that the singing Shanna?
That's the singing Shanna.
Sing Shanna. Hey, Joy. We love you.
Angel, love.
Hey, Jelly.
We're talking about you today, Angel.
Yeah.
Angel grew up me in our house. Angel's more like my sister than my niece.
Yeah.
Grew up in the same house together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank y'all for praying for us in this season.
Yeah.
God can. And I know that he will do exactly what he said he's going to do. We promised we'd be here, and we are. We thank God for all of you for praying with and for us in this season.
Trying season, huh?
Yeah, it's a trying season, but a very important season at the same time. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Very important season as we are preparing our minds and our hearts to go to the polls and to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So many things on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So many things on the line. Literally, people's bless you, life, their liberty, and their pursuit of happiness is literally on the line now.
So much.
Yeah, so we thought it's important to tell you, first of all, get registered, go vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our message.
Get registered, go vote. It is that simple, that necessary, that important, that you get registered and you go vote.
If we need to register, if there's someone that needs to register, where can they register at?
It's so easy. It's go in the New Orleans way that we spell it. GEAUX vote. That's for those who are in the New Orleans area. We have people all over the world, but of course, you can hit your local registrar of voters, so you can make sure that you vote. And a lot of different seats that are available, even here in the city of New Orleans. GoVote.org is actually the website. Thank you, Terry. Very important. If you're going to early vote, make sure that you do that. If you are going to vote by mail, everyone is going to get a ballot. Everyone is going to get a ballot
By mail.
By mail. So we're asking you to, as soon as you get your ballot, to please go ahead and vote.
Should there be a time when we expect them to come? Start looking out for them?
Yes, it's going to be, I believe they said October 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
October 3rd and 4th.
Maybe Keisha can answer it. Well,
yeah.
our guest can answer.
Yes, we got somebody we want you all to meet in a few moments. Somebody we're praying with and praying for in this season. These judge races are very, very important in our city. In New Orleans, we know that our own Michael Hall is running for judge, and we're praying for him. Um, we're praying for Judge Terry Love, who's running for Supreme Court, Supreme Court Justice. We're certainly praying with and for Judge Terry Love, my sister-in-law. I talked to my brother Ellery today. Such a good man, such an incredibly good guy. That is helping his wife to run for Supreme Court Justice. So we're certainly praying with and for Terry Love, but also somebody that many of you may not know, though she is a church girl. She's a worship leader, and we wanted y'all to meet someone that's running for judge. She's running all across the city now, making sure that she's campaigning, getting the word out. But we thought it's important on the You Go Here Now that you would meet the incomparable Lakeisha Jefferson. What's up, Lakeisha Jefferson?
Welcome. Hey,
Hi, thank you so much.
You out there working, huh?
You'll have to excuse my vehicle. I am still running and working very hard. I've attended a lot
And
of
that's what we want to
Katrina
see.
remembrance. Yeah.
The car is your office.
It is. It actually looks like election headquarters right about now.
Well, we wanted you to know that we're certainly praying with and praying for you.
Thank you so
Our
much.
history goes back long before you were an attorney.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Long before you were running for judge.
Long before she ever graduated high school.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Long before she ever went to college.
That's right.
Long before she ever became an attorney.
That's right.
I probably gave her her first relaxer.
You did. You did. And I'll tell you, I will never forget the care package that you sent me to school with. It was shampoo, conditioner. You wouldn't allow me to do my own color. You told me that I had to come home and get that service done by you.
That's
but
right.
you gave me a bunch of treatments to go to school with, and I remember quite vividly the box that it was in.
Yeah.
So when we packed up to leave, I was like, I got Pastor Fran gave me this box. I got to go with this box.
That's right. You had to keep your hair healthy.
Yes.
Such a wonderful human being. I know you and Bishop knows you, but our audience doesn't know who Lakeisha Jefferson is.
Yeah.
So can you let us know who Lakeisha Jefferson is and why we should vote for you?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm Lakeisha. I actually grew up in the East. I lived in Pontchartrain Park until I was 8 years old. We moved to New Orleans East, and I celebrated my 9th birthday just on the other side of Bullard from now, where that Walmart is. I went away to school, but then I actually came back and bought a house, and so now I live on the opposite side of Bullard from where I actually grew up. So New Orleans East has always been in my heart. There's a running joke that people from Uptown don't know people from New Orleans East, and people from New Orleans East don't know people from Uptown. It always seems like foreign land to people from Uptown when they come to New Orleans East. But, I think that we are, as a city, especially on a day like today, where we are all in remembrance of Hurricane Katrina and what it meant to us and how it affected us as a community. And so I don't think in all the years that I have grown up in New Orleans that I've ever seen the city unite the way that it did after Hurricane Katrina. And so I am a very proud New Orleans girl. But I went away. I graduated from a very small school. We had like 19 people in my class. I went to Word of Faith Academy. It no longer exists, but it was right there. It was right there on the service road.
That's
Where Bishop McManus is now. Yep. So I graduated from high school there in 95. I went away to Spelman. And graduated from Spelman in 1999. And then I came back home. I went to Southern University Law Center, and I graduated in 2002 from Southern. I came right back home because that was always my plan.
Yeah.
And I started out as a judicial law clerk. And so I clerked for probably about maybe the better part of a year and a half, and decided that I wanted to spread my wings and try the attorney thing out. And so I went to work for a small defense firm where I practiced insurance defense, and quickly learned that that probably wasn't really the best, thing for me. It wasn't for
Mhm.
me. It didn't really seem to touch as many lives, as far as I could tell, in the short time that I did it. Um, I found that in the other cases that I did while I worked at that firm, that there were other issues that were actually touching people personally. And those cases I found always gave me much more gratification than turning in, a 30-day report to an insurance company or a 60-day report. And so, unfortunately, Hurricane Katrina hit, and I didn't have a job, just like many other people. I
Mhm.
evacuated for the storm, not knowing that I would not be coming back to the city until June of 2006. So I ended
Mhm.
up in Baton Rouge at the
Mhm.
same apartment complex that I lived in when I was in law school. God showed me
Mhm.
favor, and I got bumped up. It was like a 200-person waiting list, and the manager went through my file and realized that I had lived there before, and showed me favor, bumped me up to the top of that list. So I had an apartment within like 30 days of getting to Baton Rouge. So
Mhm.
I got a call one day. I was sitting on the floor of my apartment because I didn't have any furniture. I had a bed. I
Wow.
did get a bed
Yeah.
that I bought with my credit card. So I got a bed, and
Mhm.
I was sitting on the floor, and I got a call from one of my law school friends, and he calls me Jeff. He said, Jeff, I got this lady who really needs your help. She needs to talk to you. She's got a divorce case. And I said, well, what am I going to do with a divorce case? I don't know anything
Mhm.
about family law. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, well, just talk to her, just see, what she says. And so, sure enough, I called her. I'll never forget her. And the story that she told me about what she was going through. She had a husband who had a very severe substance abuse problem,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the money that they had gotten from the insurance company and from Road Home, he pretty much squandered away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
so she had another check that was coming, and she was afraid that if she deposited that money into the account, that he was going to take it, and they
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be able to put at least the first floor of their house back, and they had young boys.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so I just felt an extreme amount of compassion for her. And
Mhm.
so I said, well, Lord, I just need you to lead me and guide me in this code so I can figure out how to help her. And
Yeah.
so, sure enough, I figured out a way to freeze the account
Mhm.
so that when she did get the money, he wouldn't be able to spend it without court authority. I also got her a protective order to keep him from, being able to come to the house and disrupt things with her and the boys. And eventually, I was able to get her divorced. And honestly, right there on the floor of my apartment is where I started my practice, because
Wow.
she, referred me to some of her other family and friends, and then those friends referred me to somebody else. And I was telling somebody just the other day, I didn't even advertise for my law firm until maybe the early part of 2019, because
Mhm.
I had had such a successful practice by word of mouth that I really didn't even need it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I've always been a firm believer that if you just do good work for people, they will
Right.
remember. And that is
Yes.
the best advertisement that you can get. It
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
is. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, 15 years later, I have what other people would term, and I got to agree with them, a very successful family law practice where I focus primarily on high conflict custody cases, high conflict divorces, child support, spousal support, community property partitions. I've worked for Southeast Louisiana Legal Services in the domestic unit, where I gained a good bit of experience while I was building my private practice. I've also worked for Project Save, which is a small public interest law firm that helps victims of domestic violence obtain protective orders. I have also worked as a prosecutor for the city attorney's office, where I actually prosecuted offenders of domestic violence statutes. So I have a great deal of experience, and it's varied experience, not just on the civil side, but also on the criminal side, as it
Mm-hmm.
relates to family matters in particular. You know, unfortunately, people do get divorced.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, relationships don't work out. And
Right.
so people find themselves in family courtrooms, which are really kind of like the church, where the church is a hospital, where family law courtrooms are become a hospital as well, where
Mhm.
we have to help people and guide them to putting their lives back together when you have one household that is now splitting into two. And so sometimes it's difficult to navigate that process when you've got little babies involved. And
Mhm.
so, I've been appointed by the domestic judges in civil court to mediate high conflict cases.
Mm-hmm.
I think the judges will tell you that I have a pretty good success rate as it relates to helping people mediate their claims. And I also have been appointed by the judges to represent children in
Mm-hmm.
high conflict custody cases as well. So, this was a difficult decision for me to make,
Mm-hmm.
to decide to run, because the biggest question that I had is, am I going to do more good for my clients fighting with them in the trenches on this side of the bench?
Uh-huh.
Or
Mm-hmm.
can I do more good for them actually being the one that decides their cases and decides issues that affect their lives?
That's
Mm-hmm.
a good question.
And, I prayed about it. It was not an easy decision for me to make. And, in everything that I do. And, Bishop, you all know me. I'm not just saying this because this is, a campaign high point. I have a real relationship with God, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we
guided
know that, and
and
we know
led
that,
by
and
Holy
we know that.
Spirit.
Yeah.
And so I refused to make a move on this unless I knew that I really had Holy Spirit's leading and his guiding in
Right.
this direction.
Right.
And so, I really believe that I had the green light to pursue this path. And, through God's favor and through his amazing grace, we are really running a very, very strong campaign, because it's really a campaign that is focused on helping our community and
Mm.
helping our citizens achieve the justice that they're entitled to.
Mhm.
And we see you out there too. We see you out there working, and not just since you started the campaign. We talking about for years
Yeah.
in barbershops, for
Yeah.
years
Mhm.
talking to people, answering questions, absolutely free.
Right.
We know you as a person, and I think we are. Aren't we like cousins? Like distant?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah,
even honestly, I really don't know how distant it is. I think we might be about third cousins, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. Second or third cousin, something like that,
Yeah.
because of your mom and my dad's side of the family,
It's
right?
my daddy's side of the family,
Your daddy's
actually.
side of the family.
Yep.
Yeah. So from a personal
Yeah.
perspective, we know you, but we've had other personal friends to run for office. Like, you know what? Holler at us later. We ain't sure if you're ready. But I have had a firsthand experience of watching you in action. Now, I have to be honest with you. I know Lakeisha, she's so nice. She's so kind. She's a worship leader. She's a little praiser. And I said, okay,
Sweet.
oh, she's so sweet.
Little Keisha.
But when that judge walked out, and that's the way she was in the beginning. God bless you, Bishop. Good morning. Good to see you, sir. All of that. All right. When that judge started that trial, she turned into like Johnny Cochran. I was like, oh my God. I was back there biting my lip. I said, oh, but so well informed,
Prepared. Huh?
so, I mean, and by the time the case was over, it proved that the other attorney wasn't even close to being at the level
Wow.
you're on. So, I mean, I've seen you firsthand be a beast in the courtroom. And for something like this, you need somebody with experience. You need
Yeah.
somebody who also cares deeply about the community that we live in. Um, and that's what you've been doing all of this time. Tell us some of the work you've been doing in the community. I talked about the barbershops earlier, but uh,
Yeah.
some of the work you've been
So
doing.
the barbershops is I gotta be honest, that's my favorite. I do sometimes I have worked with churches to do like informal, just you get to ask me any kind of thing,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
normally the most popular questions people have are, about wills and successions and powers of attorney. But the barbershop series is really like my baby. That's my favorite.
That's what we
Um,
brought you to the barbershop
yeah.
tonight.
That's my favorite.
Mhm.
So I
Welcome.
go into different barber shops. I've been to Case Closed in the East. I love the barbers there. Scoop the barber is another barber that I can think of in the lower nine. Love Scoop. But I go into the barber shops and it's a Saturday. And
Mhm.
whatever time they want me to come is the time that I come when the shop is like, the most full. And I just sit down and kind of tell them, give them the rundown of what it's like in family court.
Mhm.
And I do the best that I can to dispel myths. I normally
Mhm.
start out with about 5 or 10 myths, based upon street committee, because street committee got a whole nother set of laws that are
Mhm.
not in the books, right? So I talk to
Mhm.
them about street committee myths, and then I really just give them a free for all, and they can ask me anything that normally they would have had to pay an attorney a consultation fee for. They get to ask me any question that they want. But the most important part of the barbershop series for me is explaining to them that whatever laws it is that they don't agree with and that they don't like, they're a
Mhm.
part of the process.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And what do I mean by that?
Mhm.
What I mean by that is, if you don't like the way child support is structured, you have a legislator that has to report to you, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And that legislator, not the judge, is the one that actually makes that law. So if you
Mhm.
don't like it, call them. That's what they're
Mhm.
there for you to express your opinion about the process itself, what you believe to be unjust about this law. Excuse me. And their job is to listen.
Mhm.
But you also can't hold them accountable if you're not a part of the process as it relates to voting them in or voting them out,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
if we're not informed about when the term of a legislator comes up, then are we in a position to really complain about the laws that are passed because we're not really engaged in the process?
Mhm.
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 Every single law that is getting ready to be on the books or voted on, when they
Mhm.
are in session, they're all published on the legislator's website. And you're free to look at them. You can also go down to the Capitol when it is time for them to, vote on these things. And I always tell the brothers in the barbershop that there is strength in numbers.
Mhm.
If you really don't like something, right? If you're calling a legislator's office, you may or may not, depending on who that legislator is, you may not get a phone call back.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Let them get 30 or 40 phone calls from different people
Mhm.
about this same policy or this
Mhm.
same issue. And I
Mhm.
Mhm.
bet you will get a different response.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
It's all about being engaged, and that's through no fault of their own that they don't know that, Bishop, because they're
Uh-huh.
not engaged. I was telling somebody just the other day, I remember when I was in high school,
Mhm.
we had to take civics, and I think we had to take it twice. We had like a civics 1 and a civics 2.
Mhm.
But civics taught us about the process.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It taught us about the three separations of the branches of government. It taught us all of that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
To the extent that that is still being taught in the schools, I am unsure. But if it's not, I think it's doing us a disservice
Mhm. Mhm. Because we don't understand the power
because
that
we
we
don't
really have.
understand that. We
Yeah.
don't understand the power that we really have.
Yeah.
And the
We.
one thing, mhm,
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the one thing that I've learned on this campaign trail is that people are really not interested in judicial seats or
Mhm.
judicial elections.
Right. until
Well,
they
that's a
need.
problem.
Right,
Until they are in front of the judge, right?
right.
I don't mind. I'm an open book. When you see me out, you can ask me anything. Ask me what what my thoughts are on certain things as they
Yeah.
relate to the law, right?
Mhm.
If we don't do enough of that when we have people on the trail, then we don't really know who we're putting on the bench, right?
Hmm.
We find ourselves in front of them and don't know anything about them because we were not engaged in the process.
Wow.
So we can't really hold them accountable
Right.
if we're not going to be engaged in that process. And they
Mhm.
should
Hmm.
be held accountable because really it's a servant's position.
Mhm.
We are
Yes.
servants to the people and we owe them that.
Right. Yeah, most times in the Word of God, when they talk about someone being a servant, they're very often talking about political figures, because that was the ultimate reason for the
Yes.
political figures to be put in place to be servants. We wanted y'all to meet Lakeisha Jefferson, you all,
Yeah.
that we're standing in agreement with her as she's running for judge here in our city. So we want to introduce her in a platform that was familiar with her at the barbershop.
At the
Yes,
barbershop.
yes, sir.
Judge Lakeisha,
Yes,
Lakeisha
sir.
Jefferson.
Judge Lakeisha. We call those things that are not as though they were. Judge Lakeisha Jefferson. But we're going to make
Yes.
sure we get registered. We're going to make sure we go vote. And we want you to know that we vote for Lakeisha.
Yes,
We
we
vote
do.
for Lakeisha on all forms of
Yes, we
social
do.
media. Much
Thank
love to your
you.
cousin.
Thank you, cousin.
Love
Thank
you
you, Pastor Fran. I love y'all
so
so much.
much.
I always
Love you
have and
too.
always will.
Thank
Absolutely. Best
you.
wishes. Love you now.
Love
Love you
you.
too.
Wow. Awesome.
Great girl.
Yes, she is. Always has been.
Great spirit.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Love the city.
Yeah.
Love the city.
So we certainly praying with and
Yeah.
praying.
You know what I appreciate about her?
Mhm.
She wants us to know her,
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't just assume what she stands for.
Sure.
She wants you to know what she
Right,
stands for.
right.
She wants us to know her.
Very important.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing to hide. Like she said, I'm an open book.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, y'all. Well, those of you who want to bring your tithe tonight, you certainly can do that. Get it out of the way early. No need to have to wait on Sunday. This is our other judge right here, Judge Lakeisha Irvin Knott.
Judge.
She ran unopposed. She's saying happy birthday.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
For those of you that want to bring your tithe today, you certainly can do that. Clara's already started the giving with the $28 seed, which is the blessing seed. $8 seed is the seed of new beginning. Or you just get in where you fit in. But make sure you do your part. Thank you again for praying with and praying for us. Thank you back to Skip during this whirlwind of a season. Whirlwind of a season. But in spite of it all, God is faithful. God is faithful. God is faithful. Bless you, Telly. Bless you, Mac the Preacher. Erica, blessings to all of you all. So tomorrow, 7, 9, and 11.
It's going to be a great day.
It's going to be a great day tomorrow, but it won't be great without you all. Make sure that you are there with us tomorrow. All right. We love y'all. Love. Praying for Chadwick and Chadwick's family. A lot going on. Love, live, and inspire. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.